This is the first portrait I ever painted. It was done in 2006, making me around 15 at the time. I've decided to repaint it in my current state, my current self, with my current style. Here's the before. Here's after. I don't know, I think it's better. But it's also very different stylistically. There are a lot of people who don't value their art because it's not at a certain technical skill level, or it doesn't look like their favorite artist's art, or whatever metric you're using to evaluate your own worthiness. And I'm here to tell you right now, none of this shit matters. None of your ability to paint a realistic portrait or a not realistic portrait matters to your own happiness or to your own fulfillment. Every time I paint a painting like this, I finish it and I'm just like, all right, what's next? I feel empty now. Every mistake I've ever made in my life is worth it right now because I am exactly where I need to be and exactly where I want to be. And that has nothing to do with my skill level. That has nothing to do with any sort of success or lack thereof. I don't know, it feels cheesy to say it's like a mindset thing. If you stay the path, right? Because there's a path here. There's me not quitting painting for 18 years, and obviously I got better as a result. And so if you stick with something long enough, you're gonna get better at it. Yeah, I feel like this is actually a really interesting representation of who I was at the time. Not necessarily like based on skill level or anything, because that's a given, but it's a very literal interpretation of the reference. I'm not adding any of myself to this. I'm kind of just, I see the reference, I try to paint it accurately. Even all these flowers are fairly literal, and you know, I'm not really taking any big swings here. It's boring. No offense to my 15-year-old self, he was very proud of this when it was done. I don't know, there's something to the frenetic added colors, however you want to describe my style now, that I think is kind of interesting. I've always liked the idea of painting like who someone is, as opposed to like their exterior shell, which is gonna change and whatever as you age. Have you ever had a dream about someone you know, but it doesn't quite look like them, but you know it's them? You're sure of it, and that's kind of like what I'm trying to paint, is like the knowledge that this person is them. It might not look like them exactly. I'm not really about that. I'm more of just like capturing the person's energy, the person's vibe, all that sort of stuff. I tend to skew colors based on like how I feel as opposed to based on what I'm seeing literally. So in some ways you could argue that this is a more accurate representation of someone if you want to, you know, go down that road. The idea of painting the same thing intervals apart, years apart, is interesting because it's like a snapshot of who I am and how I interface with the world and how my views and my values. Here again, very literal, very kind of simple. Here it gets interesting, right? There's a caring less of trying to be accurate. There's more of an emphasis on feeling and trying to do something with those feelings. There were a lot of times when I was painting that where I was thinking, I don't actually know what I'm doing. It's almost like I'm watching myself paint in a way. It's like I'm not making decisions. The decisions are happening, but I don't know how they're happening. You know, I kind of interpret that as being like a very one-to-one transfer of whatever is going on up here into my hand, because there's less of a middleman trying to, you know, control the show or make decisions. It's just sort of happening. I think that's interesting. I've had a few conversations where people thought they weren't good at art because they weren't painting something hyper realistically, and then they'll show me something else where they're a bit more expressive and it looks amazing. And I feel like there's like a lot of people out there who think that their art needs to be like accurate or good for it to be valuable, and I don't think that's the case. Like, this is, I don't know, I don't think it's good. Some people out there, this is gonna be good, but it's all relative, right? But it's not, for me, this isn't about being good. It's about, like, when I was 15, there was a compulsion to paint this portrait. I think, which I'm not gonna get into, but at 33, there's also this compulsion to paint a portrait. And I think I wanted to use it as a snapshot of like, I am a new person. I am a very different person than I was 18 years ago, obviously. I would hope, right? Like, God, please do some growing up in that time. Yeah, there's a big difference. Even 3 months ago, there's a difference in who I am. And I think that's kind of what I wanted to commemorate. I wanted to use it as like a bookmark in my life of like, oh, this is when I started figuring some stuff out overall, which has led to me being happier and led to the sort of shift in my approach to art. Right now, I find myself in a position where I don't get the FOMO anymore. That used to be a thing. I used to look at other people's art or other people's achievements and lives, and I used to think, man, I would really like love to be where they're at with their business or their success and all that. And I'm not there anymore. And it's so relaxing. It's so much nicer. I am so happy working on the projects that I'm working on with the people I'm working on them with. It's a feeling of fulfillment that I don't think I've felt before. And so that kind of means that I'm painting less because I don't have that excess energy buildup that I need to sort of put onto something. And it also feels like, because I'm where I am now and it feels like it feels right, it just means that all the setbacks and all the failures and all the fuck ups and all the regrets and all the cringe that took me to where I am now had to happen, because otherwise, you set off the butterfly effect and trajectories change. But man, am I in such a good spot right now. And it's kind of just a result of staying consistent, trusting the process, all the memes, all those things that don't make sense at the time until you sort of like get to the point. When things go wrong in my day, I can be like, you know what, whatever mishap is happening, whatever thing is sort of affecting me negatively, I can look at that and be like, this is gonna get me aligned exactly to where I need to be tomorrow or the next day or the day after that. And to let that just be a source of comfort. And that's where I am now, is, yeah, like I'm the happiest I've ever been, but that doesn't mean everything's perfect. Things still go wrong. But I kind of just look at them and I'm like, you know what? If a day doesn't go well, perfect. Amazing. Tomorrow's gonna be perfect, or the next day is gonna be perfect. And it's all just like sort of nudging me in the general right direction of where I eventually need to be. And so it's not to give up all agency, but to let some of it go, let some of it like chill a little bit. And so how I would relate to that to the painting is every mark here, as a result of the influences, felt right, but they also felt random, and I felt like I didn't have control over any of them. But there's this idea that if I know I'm good, I know I can do this. If I just kind of like move my hand around, I'm eventually gonna get to the finished product. And every sort of mistake that happened on here, every little mishap or incorrect brush stroke led to the final product that I wouldn't change at all. I would caution against making the metric of your fulfillment something based on success, because that goalpost is going to keep moving. You're gonna paint your favorite thing, or you're gonna win some contest, and then the next day is just gonna be a fucking another day where you feel empty again. And so how do you even get around that? And I don't have an answer to that specifically. And that's gonna be your own work to do. And there's a lot to be said about like doing your own sort of personal work and being accountable for yourself. Like if you're depressed, it's kind of your responsibility to try to fight out of that depression. Of course you need help, but like it's on you. No one else is really gonna, pull you out without you actually putting in some effort. So as long as you're putting in effort into the thing you want to do, you're gonna eventually succeed. I think there's some value in finding fulfillment in the process, not trying to make it about the final product. The final product comes and goes, and there's going to be another final product and another final product, and if you keep chasing the final product, then it's like where where do you take the time to like enjoy where you're going? So just enjoy the process of making whatever it is you're making because you want to do it. There's this idea that why do I even want to paint this? That comes up to me. Like, why do I want to paint? Why do I paint portraits? Why do I want to make art? Why did I do this? I kept asking myself that as I was painting this. I was like, why? What is this for? And I still don't really have an answer, but it feels like a good way of just chronicling my life and just taking a quick snapshot of who I am at the time. Because who I am here is so fucking different from who I am here. Even who I am here, and I painted this a month ago, who I am today is so different than this person. It's like I've gone through such a rapid succession of software upgrades that it's hard to keep track. I think I'm trying to say what everyone else fucking says in their silly idioms and cliches, is stay the course, enjoy the process so that you'll stay the course, and eventually just fucking things work out. Because you put yourself in the position for the things to work out, or for the happy accidents to happen. And what is this video? I guess it's just encouragement. It's telling you the same thing you've heard before, but in a different set of words. Keep pushing forward. Don't force it. Maybe take some time. Allow yourself to dip. Allow yourself to fail, to feel anguish, to suffer, to do cringeworthy things, to make mistakes, and all of that will eventually lead you to where you need to be and where you will feel fulfilled and complete. And I wish you luck getting there.